So I was never what you would typically call a spiritual seeker, right? I came more from like the trauma, codependency, addiction background. So I was never really looking for enlightenment. I was just trying to put the fire out. That said, some of the books that I read on non-duality just totally changed my life, right? Anthony DeMello's Awareness, Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now, Adyashanti's The End of Your World. All of those just completely blew the top of my head off. And so, though I never really got into the non-dual scene or what you traditionally call spiritual seeking, like, going to satsang, meditation, yoga, wearing scarves, I do have a couple of really good friends, Scott Killaby and Toshi Matsunaga, who are also the co-developers of the Killaby Inquiries, who did. Scott was a non-dual teacher for like 15 years, and Toshi was an avid spiritual seeker, right? And they both had like really powerful awakening or enlightenment experiences, a la Eckhart Tolle. And I work with spiritual seekers a lot in KI's emotional repression work. These people, some of them have been on the non-dual path for years, like 30, 40, 50 years. And that's seeking awakening and enlightenment, right? For that long. Seeking the end of your suffering. Now, what happens to a lot of these people, and this happened to me a little bit when I read those books I mentioned, is that they get caught up and they land on non-dual ideas or concepts, spiritual beliefs. It's sort of like in religion where, the church says, believe this and you'll, have salvation. It's a little bit different in the spiritual non-dual paradigm because spiritual seekers will take what a spiritual teacher is pointing to, a reality that they're pointing to, and turn that into a belief. For example, there's a huge truth and reality to the statement that non-dual teachers make when they say there is no self, that on an absolute level, there's really no you, because what you are is unconditioned awareness. And this is self-evident if you just look into, the eyes of an infant. It's another way of saying you're not your thoughts, yeah? Eckhart Tolle says, you aren't your thoughts, you're the space in which your thoughts arise. You're what sees your thoughts. Anyhow, it's good stuff, right? Here's the problem. When people are in emotional repression, and most of us are, especially spiritual seekers, everyone I've ever met is in emotional repression. When they hear the pointer, there is no self, they go, oh, that feels true in my body, right? And what I say to them is, well, of course it feels true. Most humans have been repressing themselves and who they are since childhood. It's the way we stay safe and get love as kids, right? So the non-dual pointer that you turned into a belief now aligns with the voice of your emotional repression. It's sort of the same thing that happens in the church and religion when they say, deny yourself. It's like, oh yeah, I recognize that. Anyhow, I'm not the best at talking from the non-dual angle, but Toshi and Scott are. And they've got a book that came out yesterday, March 14th, called Awake But Sick, and it's about the dangers of spiritual bypassing. So if you're a spiritual seeker, I would highly, highly recommend checking this book out. You can order the book at killaby.com, or you can learn more about it at Scott or Toshi's social medias, which I will tag and link to below. And of course, if you'd like to look into doing Killaby Inquiry's emotional repression work, visit repressiontest.com.